So good evening, good afternoon everyone. We'll start with the most difficult landforms, that is the glacial landforms. Found on what? So remember, you have to do it only from prelims point of view, and only the points which I'll make you write, that is जिसीलिए को सब मत पढ़ो, it is a waste of time, because यहाँ से questions बहुत कम आ रहे हैं आजकल. Secondly, that even if it comes, it becomes very straightforward. U-shaped valleys कहाँ पे है, V-shaped valleys कहाँ पे है. Thirdly, when the questions come, they ask you only the major fact of the questions, not the examples which are given in Gisilio. So, सबसे पहले, what do you mean by glacier? What is the glacier? It is a river of ice, can I say? It is a huge mass of ice. Yeah, it is a river of ice which flows down under the influence of gravity. And when this glacier is coming down under the influence of gravity, you will have to imagine a little bit. When it comes down, this huge mass of ice, when it is coming down, it is not of snow, it is of neve. Means the ice or snow that has melted, got frozen, melted and got frozen, and hence it has become very, very hard, crystalline substance. That is what is an ice. So when it comes down under the influence of gravity, it erodes everything that is in the path. Everything that is in the path. Secondly, when it is coming down, niche, it is now a solid object, not like water. So it does not have the flexibility to change uska path. So it will not meander a lot. Meandering hoga only in the water bodies, never in the glaciers. Third, when this huge mass of ice is coming down with great speed, it will scratch the surface of the earth. Why? Because that ice has enough power of what you can say abrasion. What do you mean by abrasion? Abrasion means scratching the surface of the earth, and hence one of an indicator of the any of an glaciated landform is the scratched surface of the earth. For example, you take any sandpaper, कुछ भी paper लो which is rough and घिसो यहाँ पे, scratches आएंगे skin पे. So the same thing that will happen. Sandpaper, for example, painting के समय use करते हैं. You do the scratching of the walls. And as a result of this, the earth also is scratched, and therefore there are numerous depressions that are formed on the earth. The soft rocks will be scratched. And in these depressions, the snow or the ice which is moving down will accumulate. And once this ice or snow will accumulate in these depressions, over the period of time, the ice may melt. Ice may melt or ice may not melt. We'll consider that ice has melted, and therefore one of an indicator of any of an glaciated landform is presence of fresh water lakes. Now why the presence of freshwater lakes? Because these surfaces are known as scratched or striated surfaces. Striations means scratches. So applied question. Why the higher regions, higher latitudes have so many freshwater lakes? One option hoga temperature is less. Second option hoga they were once under the influence of glaciation. So what is the right answer? They were under the influence of glaciation. Isliye they were scratched. So the same topography what is there in the glaciated topography is seen in many parts of India. छोटा नागपुर प्लाटू में जाओगे तो you will see some of the many lakes will be there. महाराष्ट्र में जाओगे you will find many lakes will be there. Peninsular plateau में जाओगे you will find lakes are there. And some of the mountains which should be present in the glaciated regions are there. What does it indicate? Once upon a time, the peninsular India was heavily glaciated. Remember the continental drift theory. उसको क्या दिखा यहाँ पे? The presence of glaciated mountains in peninsular India. And coal कहाँ पे मिला उसको? In Sweden, in UK. Kiruna and Gallivare, and hence we can indicate that under the Pleistocene ice age, जो recent था, and also during the Precambrian glaciation, जो बहुत पहले था, Indian का part, that is especially the peninsular landform of India, was once under the influence of glaciation. But when we go to some years back, जब ice age था, that is what is known as an Pleistocene ice age. Remember, this is global warming. Winter should have been much severe than it is present this year. This is nothing, Delhi ka, this is not the typical winters. Last year, तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं थे winter severe. At least इस साल there is severe winters. But can you see the indications of global warming कि अभी अंडमान में आज भी cyclones है? So cyclone should not originate. हमने अभी theory पढ़ी that cyclone should originate only during the summer season when the sea surface temperature is greater than 27 degrees Celsius. But this is global warming for you. The cyclones are originating even now. Thankfully, this cyclone will not reach because the coast of India is colder and it will die before it will reach the coast of India. And जो भी winds अब attract होगी in that low pressure belt, that winds will be somewhat colder winds. So इतने जल्दी से ऊपर नहीं जाएगी. But अगर ये summers होता तो ये cyclone intensify होता और आता and it would have struck the coast of Tamil Nadu या गुजरात, क्योंकि अंडमान नीचे है, वो नीचे से सीधा जाता and curve होता. Understanding this? So coming back to this, once upon a time world was under the influence of glacial period, and one of the mega ice age was Pleistocene ice age, jab when 1/3, more than 33% of the earth was under the glaciation, and that time India also had an evidence of glaciation. Us samay there were large continental masses of ice, huge caps of ice, huge glaciers all over the world, and this was the second period of mass extinction. उस समय जो animals could adopt themselves, they survived, जो adopt नहीं कर पाए, they were removed. इससे पहले there was period of warming due to volcanic eruptions. So as a result of this, continental drift, climatic changes, volcanic eruptions, glaciation, this will help in mass extinction. Ideally, we are right now in the mini glacial period. This should have been a mini ice age, but ये mini ice age has been reversed due to the effects of global warming. ये ice age होना चाहिए था. This was a mini ice age, and we are approaching a mini ice age. Mini ice age मतलब जो maybe 5-6 साल के लिए रहेगा, maximum that ice age. What happens during the ice age is that the land, the water that is there in the water bodies, it gets frozen, and इसलिए उसका level decrease होता है. Because उसका level decrease होता है, जो river जो जानी चाहिए to meet the water, now that river is at a greater height. Understanding? So it starts flowing with a greater speed, and you know when it starts flowing with a greater speed, it starts doing vertical or horizontal erosion. It starts doing vertical erosion, काटना शुरू कर देती है, because it carry big stones, and this is what is known as river rejuvenation. हमने किया है ये topic, valley in valley topography. After the end of Pleistocene ice age, फिर से पानी release हुआ back in the atmosphere because ice melted, and thus many of the regions which were above the water body now got submerged. Example हम इसलिए कहते हैं the western coast of India is an submerged coastline, क्योंकि पानी का level release हुआ, and this is how many of the fossil fuels were formed in the world. Maybe petroleum or maybe coal in the Gondwana region, Chota Nagpur Plateau region. Coal form हुआ था Chota Nagpur Plateau में, because Chota Nagpur Plateau once was densely forested, and after the end of ice age, वो सारा पानी के नीचे चला गया, and today we find that as coal deposits. But कब? Recent time में. Recent time में हुआ, इसलिए we say that India does not have anthracite. India has an bituminous coal. Can you remember all these things? They all are related. So world also had experienced major ice caps, but today there are only important ice caps today which are present in the world is Greenland. Greenland is mostly ice. One is Antarctica, and third is Arctic. But Arctic is not a continental glacier. Continental glacier या बड़े land पे आज एक Greenland है northern hemisphere में, and one is Antarctic. Fine with this? When the glacier is moving down, when it is coming down the mountains, glacier can do abrasion, scratching, which is the most important tool, and it can do attrition. It can do attrition means The particles in the glaciers will rub against themselves, and after rubbing up against themselves, these particles will break down to form smaller particles, and hence जैसे हम alluvial deposits कहते हैं, these are the debris that are deposited by the rivers. Glacial deposits will be known as moraines, or they will be known as tills. Glacial till, बहुत ही fine sand. जब ग्लेशियर विल ब्रेक द रॉक, इट विल ब्रेक द रॉक इन सो फाइन कि वो मैदे जैसा रहेगा. मैदा इज वेरी वेरी फाइन. सो दिस वेरी फाइन रॉक विच इज मेड इज नोन एज टिल, while the coarse rocks are known as moraines. These are nothing but the glacial debris. India में कहाँ पे मिलेगा glacial till? We'll come to Indian geography tomorrow, day after tomorrow, when we'll do this topic known as Karevas of Kashmir. Karevas of Kashmir are very fine glacial till that are deposited in the Kashmir Valley. Today, Kashmir Valley is an example of an glaciated valley. So, if we look at the mountains, fold mountains, these are our fold mountains. This is a mountain. But now imagine a certain condition that glacial landform is difficult because the words are either German or French words. So now the glacier is there, and this glacier which is there at the top of a mountain, just imagine, is moving downwards under the influence of gravity, river ke jaisa. So will it erode the base of a mountain? So because it erodes the base of a mountain, the scratching or erosion will be so greater, वो ऐसे erode करके जाएगा. So it will make this mountain side very steep and ऐसे जाएगा. So it will make this part very very deep. So कोई भी mountain जो है, it will be, after the glacier, it will be converted into a very, and this is what is red, blue in color, this is what is the movement of ice. It will become a armchair shaped or horseshoe shaped valley, which is known as cirque, which is known as cirque, or it is known as Kori, or it is known as CWM. We'll write all this, first try to understand. So this is one Kori. There can be Kori on opposite side also. So ऐसे glacier जाएगा. So as a result of this, the mountains will become an entire armchair shaped mountains having very pointed top. Top pointed हो जाएगा because the glacier is eroding it. And this is the another glacier which is moving from this side. So when the two Koris cut back in the opposite direction, I'll just show you in 3 dimension. This is a mountain, normal mountain हमारा. If I now the glacier is moving in this mountain downwards. There is another glacier which is moving in this mountain downwards, top से ice होके, and as a result of this region is now covered by ice. So imagine करो कि एक आइसक्रीम का triangle है, उसमें से आप scoop कर रहे हो. You are taking the scoop out. So the glacier is doing somewhat like this, and therefore the sides of the mountains which are not eroded, ये जो sides है, they will become very very pointed and they will become sharp. ऐसे sides, the mountains will be converted. Understanding this? Scooping out. So side से ये जो rock है which is not eroded, it will become very sharp because दोनों side से उसको निकाला गया. So this sharp edges of the mountain are known as arêtes. The sharp edges of the mountains are known as arêtes. Fine? नाम सिर्फ difficult है. Imagine a mountain is there, you are taking one part out, you are taking other part out. So जो mountain का edge है, it has become very very sharp and it is known as arêtes. Why it is important? Because if you want to climb on a glacier or if you want to climb on a Mount Everest, अगर आपका सपना है, तो you will take the help of arêtes only. You will never go with the help of a glacier, क्योंकि glacier कभी भी नीचे आ सकता है. And glacier में सबसे dangerous होता है when during the summer season, when the glacier starts melting, the because there is no fresh snowfall. So as a result of this, अगर ये glacier ice है, the ice will start breaking from a point जहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा pulling effect है. So if this is the ice here, this is the point where the ice will start flowing. And if you start climbing from here, maybe you will not see a very superficial layer of ice. And because of this, you can fall down into the deep crack, which is known as Berggrund. It is known as an Berggrund. क्या है ये? This is a very very deep crack which is found at the head of a glacier. क्यों? Head of the glacier से सबसे ज़्यादा steep है slope, and because steep है, there is no fresh snowfall, so the ice will start breaking. And generally when we go for mountaineers, हमें दिखता नहीं, हमें लगता है ice है, हम पैर रखते हैं, and the mountaineers fall in the deep crack. And this is the single most important reason for the death of mountaineers when they fall into the Berggrund. It is very very deep, 1 kilometer deep, 1.5 kilometer deep, 500 meter deep, and उसके कारण bodies भी नहीं मिलती unless the ice melts. So we know, we have seen the cases, a mountaineer का body is found 50 years, 60 years afterwards when he had starts climbing the mountain. Then 50-60 साल बाद how can we identify कि ये body उसी की है? Because the body सड़ती नहीं है. Because the cold climate does not allow decomposition. ये natural है, natural mortuary है ये. So you can understand that this is so the UPSC will ask you a question, which is considered as the most fatal or dangerous to the glaciers. हमें सिर्फ याद रखना है Berggrund is the most difficult because the glaciers will fall. Understand? Now when the glacier is coming down, suppose if ये mountain है एक, this is another mountain which is there in the glaciated regions, and imagine the glacier is coming down. Will glacier meander like a river? क्या is it flexible like a river कि वो mountain है तो river पानी mountain के ऊपर से चला जाएगा? थोड़ा बहुत no. As a result of this, the glaciers will cut the foot of a mountain, and it will make very very flat, typical U-shaped valleys. So rivers के साथ which valleys are there? V-shaped valleys. Glacier के साथ which valleys are there? There are U-shaped valleys that are associated with the glaciers. And what has happened to the foot of a mountain? The foot of a mountain has got cut here. Can I say? ये mountains थे, 2 different mountains, they have got cut because the glacier came with the great speed, and it has removed the foot of a mountain, and therefore glaciated regions, next technical word, is associated with truncated. Truncated means cut, and foot means spur. हमने किया है, rivers are associated with interlocked spurs, right? The glaciers are associated with the truncated spur. So what Ganga starts as a glacier or as a river? As a glacier. Yamuna starts as a glacier. Getting it? The Pindar river, which is a tributary of Alaknanda, it starts as a glacier. So can I conclude that even in the glaciers, same like river, there will be main glacier and tributary glaciers? Right? Ganga क्या है? Main glacier. Yamuna क्या है? Tributary glacier. Yamuna is a tributary of river Ganga. In the higher reaches, it is flowing as a glacier. फिर नीचे आते आते temperature बढ़ जाता है, and therefore it starts melting. Right? So can we say there is a main glacier and the tributary glacier? So which will be bigger, main glacier or the tributary glaciers? Main glaciers. So main glaciers will be bigger than the tributary glacier. And now imagine a simple concept कि there is a glacier which is flowing here, and this region is highly mountainous, and this is one mountain. There is a second mountain, there is a third mountain, there is a fourth mountain, there is a fifth mountain here. वैसे there are mountains and there is a main glacier which is flowing through the glaciated valley. So, and this is one mountain on the sides, this is another mountain on the side, fine, and यहाँ से the main glacier is flowing. We'll take an example. It has cut the valley to such an extent that the main glacier is flowing. Now, there are numerous tributary glaciers which are originating from the sides of the mountains. And this is one tributary glacier which is coming downwards. Getting it, everyone? There is another tributary glacier which is coming downwards. There can be third tributary glacier which may come from the other mountain. This is bigger as compared to the tributary glacier. So who has greater erosion power, the main glacier or the tributary glaciers? Main glaciers. The tributary glaciers, because they have greater erosion, they have lesser erosion power, they won't be able to erode their valleys up to a greater depth. वो कम U-shaped valleys बनाएंगे, that they won't be as deep as the main glacier valley. And इसमें से the glacier will be meeting them, the tributary glacier. And hence the next topography in the glacier is hanging valleys. ये सबसे कॉमन है यूपीएससी का. यूपीएससी थैंकफुली ग्लेशियर्स में ज़्यादा डीप नहीं जाती. Why hanging valleys? Understood? Because the main glacier does not have, the tributary glaciers do not have the greater power of erosion, so they will erode the valley, Unka valley, up to a lesser depth as compared to the valley of a main glacier. And hence, we say that Inki valley is at a greater height as compared to the main valley, and we call this as an hanging valley. यहाँ तक समझ में आया? अब see इसका implication. After the end of Pleistocene Ice Age, many of the glaciers ended. They got converted into rivers. So hanging valleys are the natural sites of waterfalls, and therefore Norway is the largest manufacturer of hydroelectric power project. Understanding the linkages? Where is Norway? In the north, Baltic Sea के पास. ग्रीनलैंड, हाइड्रोइलेक्ट्रिक पावर. ग्रीनलैंड में आदमी नहीं रहता. वैसे हाईएस्ट प्रोडक्शन ऑफ हाइड्रोइलेक्ट्रिक पावर क्वेश्चन आता है तो आंसर चाइना है. आई टोल्ड यू अर्लियर आल्सो इन द क्लास, किसी भी चीज का हाईएस्ट प्रोडक्शन आंसर इज चाइना. हम उसको पीछे छोड़ देंगे इन ह्यूमंस सून. हमारा पॉपुलेशन कल मैं देख रहा था इज 1.33 करोड़. 2035 तक इंडिया, वर्ल्ड ने कहा है कि इंडिया विल बी द मोस्ट पॉपुलस कंट्री. अभी 2019 इज गोइंग ऑन. आवर पॉपुलेशन इज 1.33.74 करोड़. चाइना का पॉपुलेशन इज 1.38 करोड़. कितना गैप है? सिर्फ 5-6 करोड़ का गैप है. किसकी? बहुत सारे स्टेट की फर्टिलिटी रेशियो नीचे है, पर 9 स्टेट्स की फर्टिलिटी रेशियो 3 से भी ज़्यादा है. बिहार का फर्टिलिटी रेशियो इज 3.4, यूपी का इज 3.2 एंड मध्य प्रदेश का इज 3.1. यूपी मतलब एक कंट्री है. आई कॉल यूपी एज अ कंट्री, यूनाइटेड प्रोविंस. याद रखना, इतना बड़ा यूनाइटेड प्रोविंसेस ऑफ इंडिया, इतना बड़ा स्टेट एंड इतना ज़्यादा पॉपुलेशन एंड इतना रिच इन एग्रीकल्चर रिसोर्सेस. इट इज़ अ कंट्री इन इटसेल्फ. यूपी 80 लोकसभा में मेंबर्स देता है. वाई यू हैव टू फोकस इन सिक्किम, अरुणाचल प्रदेश, आसाम एक्सेट्रा. 80 मेंबर्स यहीं से ले आओ. राम मंदिर बनाओ, 80 मेंबर्स आ जाएंगे. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? या फिर राम मंदिर की केस कोर्ट में चलने दो. लोग सोचेंगे अरे राम मंदिर अभी तक नहीं बनाया, अगले साल हम बना देंगे. सो दिस इज व्हाट इज द गेम. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? क्या फोकस करना है केरला में, कितने लोग देंगे. वैसे भी पॉपुलेशन कम हो रहा है. फ्यूचर पॉलिटिक्स के लिए अच्छा नहीं है केरला. बहुत ज़्यादा लिटरेट लोग हैं. They are aware. So understanding this, so here, so as a result of this, per capita GDP of per capita hydroelectric power production is greatest in Norway. Norway manufactures उसका energy needs में से 87% of electricity as hydroelectric power, clean energy. Understanding? Second application. thankfully rich resources are found in the plateau region कहीं पे भी world में. So India में peninsular plateau है, and India जैसा ही peninsular plateau is the Canadian Shield. We have written this. So Canadian Shield region and the Laurentia Plateau region. Therefore, the New England region, कहाँ पे है New England region? This is what is your economic geography. New England region is USA वाला northeastern part of USA. England में population बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गया. So when the population was there so high, तो देखो जब population बढ़ेगा, there will be exploitation of rich versus poor. So as a result of this, unwanted people, migrants, yeah, the people who were not getting the benefit, they crossed the Atlantic and settled in USA. And इसीलिए उसको कहते हैं न्यू इंग्लैंड रीजन. एंड बिकॉज दे केम फ्रॉम आउटसाइड, कहीं पे भी माइग्रेंट्स जो होते हैं, इट्स नॉट यूपी एंड बिहार में ही या एनीवेयर इन द वर्ल्ड, migrants, because they come without anything, they are always hard working. Whether it is a person from Bihar or UP who goes to any of the metros, or it is the Indian who goes to Silicon Valley. Understanding? सिर्फ आपका देखने का that class difference comes, but any migrant will be hard working, and any migrant, because his family is there, he will try to adjust himself. कि चाहे बिहार एंड यूपी से अगर दिल्ली में आते हैं और एक रूम में 7-8 लोग रहते हैं, या इंडियंस एज अ सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर जाते हैं सिलिकॉन वैली में एंड एक रूम में 7-8 लोग रहते हैं, इट इज द सेम थिंग. उनकी वजह से कुछ भी होने तो पॉलिटिक्स, वो तो ट्रम्प का प्रॉब्लम है या यहाँ पे वो राज ठाकरे का प्रॉब्लम है. आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू द रीजन, आई एम टेलिंग यू why the local people go against migrants. Because if you are a businessman, कोई 8 रुपए में आपको उतनी प्रोडक्टिविटी दे रहा है, rather than if you employ a local people, अरे आज मेरे चाचा के भाई के बेटे की शादी है, कल इसकी शादी है, आज ये है वो है, छुट्टी ज़्यादा, 7 बज गए, मुझे घर जाना है, 10 बजे मुझे आज इधर जाना है. So what you will choose? You will choose always migrants. That is the same thing that has happened in USA. That is the same thing that has happened in Punjab and Maharashtra. Understanding? So coming back to this, in the New England region that is there, in this New England region, this is also economically one of the most prosperous region of the world. जो आज हम लिखेंगे, economic geography अलग से नहीं पढ़ना है. जो लोग कहते हैं 6th, 7th, 8th की NCERT पढ़ो, वो ज़माना गया. That was prior to 2005. UPSC does not ask you economic geography in prelims nowadays. So only thing we should know is New England region is famous for what? Iron and steel industry. Great Lakes are what? An example of an ex-glaciated lakes. They are rich in what? Hydroelectric power production. So hydroelectric power comes from the Great Lakes, America ka. And iron ore comes from Canada. Coal comes from, we have done Appalachian Mountains, and therefore New England region is one of the most famous region for the location of industries. Getting it? Then these are the erosional landforms that are found in the glaciated regions. The next kind of the landforms that are found in the glaciated regions are जब glacier नीचे आ जाता है. There are two important landforms which are both erosional and depositional. Both erosional and depositional, means they show the characteristics of both the erosional landforms and the depositional landforms. Now understand उसमें से first landform क्या है? There is a mass of very hard rock which is already present. A glacier is coming with less speed. अब glacier has entered the flat region. Understand? So therefore उसका erosional speed is not greater, and as a result of this it stops. So when you know that when anything stops, it will engage in deposition. Over the period of time, glacier का layer of ice is built. As the layer of ice is built, वो धीरे से it starts falling downwards. धीरे से it starts falling downwards and accumulating. And once the glacier melts, इसके अंदर जो भी stone है, it gets deposited either here. पानी चला गया, stone will remain, or it gets deposited over here. Understanding? We'll see in photos. But just I am telling you before we do the photos, what are the landforms. So this topography is known as crag and tail topography. So what is crag in this? Crag is a mass of a very hard rock, generally granite, generally gneiss, generally volcanic in origin, which cannot be eroded, and it will be having a tail. So crag and tail topography is the most commonly used example and question, because England में Queen of England stays on a crag and the royal road is the tail. Royal road जो जाता है to the palace, Windsor Palace, it is the tail, and the Windsor Palace is on the crag. इसी को कॉपी किया इंडिया में, that is President's House और राजभवन is on the upper part of Aravallis, and वहाँ से जो रास्ता आता है वो बन जाता है राजपथ. The only thing is हमारे यहाँ पे difference कम है, क्योंकि Aravallis are hills. Understanding? The same thing happens. The royal road वहाँ पे नाम है, इंडिया में राजपथ नाम है. That is for the kings. So जनता के लिए जनपथ, which is on the side of the Rajpath. Understanding this? You can see this in Delhi, very near to you. There is Rajpath, which goes to the President's House, from India Gate to President's House, and उसको जो बाकी का रास्ता है, that is जनपथ. जनपथ. Lajpath is market. So understanding this, the crag and tail topography. The second kind of an topography that is there is, again there is a mass of very hard rock, but इसका erosion थोड़ा अलग होता है. That is, just like the glacier will come, it will get accumulated, and over the period of time इसकी height कम है as compared to this, and therefore it will gently rise upwards. Once it gently rises upwards, over the period of time this rock will be crushed, and a glacier, once it rises upwards, it starts falling down. यहाँ से वो गिरेगा just like this, but we have still not yet understood why the difference is. So we will find a rock or a mountain which is found in such a way कि it represents a whale का back, or it represents a jacket which is generally worn, which was wool का jacket which was generally worn in France. या you can see एक covering जो tropical evergreen forest regions में Indonesia, China में farmers लेते हैं खुद के ऊपर to protect themselves from rain. And this kind of an topography is known as an roche mountain. You will find this kind of the topography surprisingly even in the Deccan Plateau region, Roche Mountain. You will find this kind of a topography even in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. You will find this kind of a topography even in Maharashtra, Karnataka. What does it show? It shows that once upon a time this region was heavily glaciated. So you should just know what prelims के लिए what is the difference. कभी नहीं पूछेंगे क्यों form हुआ. Optional में भी नहीं पूछते ये, because this is very complex. It is not that easy. The only thing is this region is the movement of a glacier. ऐसे जा रहा है glacier in both. The only thing we should remember the difference is this is smooth. This is not smooth. This is highly rough. Okay. This side is steep. This side is gentle. So what is the difference between Roche Mountain and crag and tail topography? Upstream side is steep, upstream side is gentle. Upstream side जैसे windward and leeward है, वैसे upstream side is steep, the upstream side is gentle. Downstream side is smooth, and the downstream side is steep plus rough. क्यों rough? जब rocks गिरेंगे तो वो they will engage in plucking. Understanding this? अभी तक सब समझ में आया? यहाँ पे क्योंकि रॉक अलग है, ये हमेशा इग्नियस रॉक होता है, ग्रेनाइट नीस होता है ये. सो नीस विल रेजिस्ट द इरोशन. ये कोई भी रॉक में हो सकता है. कौन सी? वहाँ पे, बिकॉज ग्लेशियर आया, ग्लेशियर इस रॉक को इरोड नहीं कर पाया, लेयर्स ऑफ आइस बिल्ट हुआ, एंड उसके बाद आइस स्टार्टेड मूविंग डाउन स्ट्रीम, ठीक है। फिर आइस मेल्ट हो गया, और जो बचता है, आइस मेल्ट होते ही पानी, जो सेडिमेंट्स है पानी के अंदर, वो सारे सेटल हो जाएंगे यहाँ पे, जो सेडिमेंट्स है वो ऐसे सेटल हो जाएंगे, एंड इसीलिए ऐसे स्मूथ बना। सो बिफोर आई गो टू द नेक्स्ट लैंड फॉर्म्स, एक बार आपको पीपीटी दिखा दे, सो दैट अदरवाइज कोहली जी वो
अपनी किताब दे दो, उसमें
ये खोलना लगाना है, आप नज़दीक ही रहना, मुझे फिर से बोर्ड, फिर से ये, फिर से बोर्ड, फिर से ये कर। संजय को बोलना उधर स्टिकर लगा दे।
ये नीचे कर। सोनू जी एक मिनट आना, सोनू जी
बंद हो गया। ये चलता नहीं है।
चल रहा है, चल रहा है।
अच्छा लगा दिया। So can I continue? So here, प्लीस्टोसिन आइस एज, मैंने फिर से आपको याद दिलाने के लिए वहाँ लिखा है, यू शुड जस्ट हैव एन ओवरव्यू, नहीं तो जिसी लियोंग खोल के बैठोगे और कुछ समझ में नहीं आएगा। सो पहले जो हमारे क्लास नोट्स है और ये जो पीपीटीज है। सो प्लीस्टोसिन आइस एज वाज द पीरियड ऑफ आइस एज ऑन द अर्थ। कैन यू स्विच ऑफ द लाइट्स? When the frozen ice moves down from the ice caps, ice cap मतलब snow covered mountain, it is known as a glacier, not as an ice cap. Ice caps and the glaciers are the largest source of fresh water in the world. We have done this already. Fine. Highest mountains on the earth will have ice caps. क्यों? Highest mountains. Go to climate. The temperature decreases at the rate of 6.5 degrees Celsius for every kilometer. So can I say due to normal lapse rate, right? See, glaciation gives rise to erosional landforms in the highlands. Highlands मतलब जहाँ पे mountains है, because the river के जैसे glacier का speed is also greater, and जहाँ speed ज़्यादा है, what is the main work? Erosion or deposition? Erosion. Fine. And the depositional landforms in the glaciers. Major fissures, that is the erosional landforms, are Kori, CWM or Cirque. एक ही है ये तीनों. What it is? It is a steep horseshoe shaped basin. पहले mountain ऐसा था. Now because of the glacier moving downwards, it has become steep from here and it has become deep from here. ऐसे move कर रहा है glacier, right? Second is Berggrund. So what is Berggrund? Deep cracks at head of a glacier. Cracks यहाँ पे भी मिलेंगे, cracks यहाँ पे भी मिलेंगे. But Berggrund is this very deep cracks that are found at the head of a glacier. And smaller cracks that are found at the bottom are known as crevasses. Understood this? Smaller cracks are known as crevasses. हम फिर से लिखेंगे. But have you understood this? कहाँ पे क्या? Cracks because the ice starts melting during the summers and there is no fresh ice or snowfall during the summer season. So when the ice starts melting, it starts moving downwards. Why during the summer season temperature increases? नीचे जाएंगे तो pressure भी increase होगा, तो यहाँ से ज़्यादा melting यहाँ पे होगा, and as a result of this entire mass of ice will move downwards. So When the ice moves downwards, so obviously यहाँ पे crack आएगा. अब winters में ये crack बुझ जाएगा due to snowfall, but summers में will there be snowfall? No, and therefore cracks are developed. अब ये movement because of global warming becomes very very stronger, and you call it as avalanche. You call this as an avalanche. Getting it? I'll show you the crevasses in the next. Zone of plucking and zone of the abrasion is same. The plucking यहाँ पे dominates. That is abrasion is removal, rubbing. Rubbing कहाँ पे हो रहा है? नीचे. यहाँ पे जैसे ग्लेशियर मूव कर रहा है तो वो रॉक्स को तोड़ रहा है, साथ में लेके जा रहा है. That is why it is the zone of plucking. We'll write all these things. Understood this? So here, this is an example of एक original mountain था. Now it has become one kori. It has become another kori. Getting it? U-shaped valley, U-shaped glacial trough. So ये glacier है, which was our side view of this diagram, and it is moving downwards. So ये बन गया एक कोरी, ये बन गया another कोरी. We have just seen when the two koris cut in opposite direction, एक वो ice cream वाला example, it results into the sharpening of the edges of the mountain, and we'll call this as arits. So when two koris cut back in opposite direction, sharp edge is formed between them, and they are known as arits. So what is the sharp ridge-like feature when the two koris cut back in opposite direction? It is the arits. यहाँ से एक कोरी जा रहा है, यहाँ से एक कोरी, there will be two or one more कोरी from the behind. So because of this, ये जो rounded peak है mountain का, of a fold mountain, will it become sharp? नीचे से if you are cutting it, right? Therefore, in the glaciated regions, we'll call these peaks as pyramidal peaks. The peaks in the glaciated region is sharp. It is known as pyramidal peak, formed when three or more cirque or kori cuts back. Sharp कब बनेगा? जब चारों साइड से माउंटेन कट होगा. दो साइड से यहाँ पे हो रहा है. There has to be one more kori behind. Understanding this? When they cut in opposite direction. Understood what is arits? Collapse means erosion होगा. तो जैसे ही एंडोजेनेटिक फोर्सेस, हिमालयास की हाइट क्यों बढ़ रही है? बिकॉज एंडोजेनेटिक फोर्सेस उनकी हाइट बढ़ा रहा है. जैसे ही प्लेट टेक्टोनिक्स बंद हो जाएगा, हिमालयास का इरोजन शुरू हो जाएगा और वो अरावलीज जैसे बन जाएंगे. यू शुड नो, देयरफॉर रिमेंबर द जियोमॉर्फोलॉजी का लेक्चर्स. वी आर अरावलीज, आई टोल्ड यू, वेर वंस एज हाई एज हिमालयास. क्यों बंद हो गए? बिकॉज ग्रेटर अमाउंट, क्यों दे आर नाउ वेरी लो हिल्स? बिकॉज ऑफ इरोजन. One day, the Aravallis will become flat. After many, many centuries, Himalayas will become flat. This is what cycle, deposition and erosion का cycle. इसलिए अगर वो dialogue याद है, geography का एक law है, the only thing that is permanent is change. इनकी हाइट कंटिन्यूसली बढ़ेगी जब तक इंडियन प्लेट पुश कर रही है. इंडियन प्लेट कब तक पुश करेगी? जब तक अंदर विंध्यास आके शिवालिक्स को टच नहीं करते. मतलब जब तक हम जहाँ खड़े हैं वो एक और एक हिमालय नहीं बन जाता. उसके बाद स्टेबिलिटी आएगी एंड उसके बाद इंडियन प्लेट का मूवमेंट बंद हो जाएगा, तो सिर्फ इरोजन होगा. जहाँ आज हम खड़े हैं ये सब एक ज़माने में हिमालयाज होगा और हम वो आगे के जनरेशन के लिए रिच ऑयल डिपॉजिट्स हो जाएंगे. और ये सारे ये तो हिमालयास का ही फोटो है. हाँ, ग्रेट हिमालयास क्या है? Then when the ice is moving, understand, when the ice is moving, it will cut the sides of a mountain, unlike V-shaped valleys which are formed by the rivers, because river का पानी flexible होता है, water is flexible. यहाँ पे water can take the shape of a surface, but ice cannot, and therefore it will cut back, resulting into what we'll call this U-shaped valleys. So glacial valleys are always flat from the bottom, steep, wide, having characteristics U-shaped. A glacier can erode the mountains and therefore instead of interlocked spurs, there are truncated spurs. Fine. After the melting of a glacier, ribbon or finger lakes may develop. I'll tell you later on what is this ribbon or finger lakes. Abhi sirf yaad rakhna U-shaped valley kya hai. Understood? And this is an example of an U-shaped valley. Getting it? Glacial melt हो गया. ग्लेशियल तो मेल्ट होगा. This is river ka. Which valley? V-shaped valley. Getting it? And your foot of the mountains hai, they are interlocked. यहाँ पे we have, you can take another example of somewhat V-shaped valleys. अगर एक ग्लेशियर होता तो ये U-shaped valley होता. So this is an example of an U-shaped valley. So once the glacier melts, so therefore geography का second law है, तो ऑप्शनल में ये सब लिखना नहीं है जीएस में. प्रेजेंट इज की टू द पास्ट. जहाँ जहाँ यू शेप्ड वैली है, व्हाट कैन यू, अभी हम जाके प्री कैम्ब्रियन प्लीस्टोसिन में तो पूछ नहीं सकते कि आपके समय कैसा था. सो बाय लुकिंग एट द प्रेजेंट लैंडफॉर्म्स वी कैन आइडेंटिफाई वी कैन रिकंस्ट्रक्ट द हिस्ट्री. यू शेप्ड वैली छोटा नागपुर प्लाटू में मिलता है. यू शेप्ड वैली इज फाउंड इन पेनिनसुलर प्लाटू. व्हाट डज इट मीन्स? वंस अपॉन अ टाइम इट वाज ग्लेशिएटेड. So U-shaped valley हमेशा तभी बनेगी when there are glacier. Now this is the main glacier which has now melted, but this was the tributary glacier. Again it has melted, and therefore the main glacier is met by tributary glacier, but you can see difference in the valleys. It could not cut the valley up to that deep. But the main glacier could cut the valley, and therefore the next landform is hanging valleys. As the main glacier is large, it erodes the main valley deeper compared to the tributary glaciers. This gives rise to hanging valleys. Hanging valleys are very good sites of natural waterfall and therefore generating hydroelectricity. Getting it? Example, Norway. Second example, Great Lakes of North America. Q Great Lakes of North America. You'll see an hanging valley there, which you famously know as Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls क्या है? Hanging valley. The main valley is deeper, and therefore river Hudson is following through the major fall that is known as a Niagara Falls. You must have seen the Niagara Falls. So this is the ये PPT याद करके जाना. This is the region of Canada, Lake Superior region. एक बार हम देख लेंगे इसको. Then we'll see in the atlas. It is famous for what? Iron ore. Lake Michigan की खासियत क्या है? The only great lake of North America which lies totally in USA. We have done this I guess earlier, right? And Niagara Falls lies between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. When this region was glaciated, you should understand कि this is how the weaker rocks were removed and ice फंस गया. When the ice's edge ended, ये बन गए lakes. दूसरी खासियत क्या है Lake Superior की? The largest freshwater lake of the world. अब कल क्वेश्चन आता है, yes, it is the largest freshwater lake by area. By area. हमने देखा है deepest freshwater lake is Baikal. Baikal. अब Lake Superior is reducing in size. इस साल जैसा अगर कोई गूगली क्वेश्चन आता है which identify following river lake जिसमें there has been sudden reduction in size, वो सब superior नहीं. Remember, USA अपने environment को हाथ से जाने नहीं देगा. They have already seen the burn. They will protect it at any cost. Okay. Then we come to the two important topographic features that is moraines. We'll see this later on. They are made up of sediments of the broken rock. बस इतना ही prelims के लिए याद रखना है. Moraines are made up of the sediments of the broken rocks, but Roche Mountain and the crag and tail topography. So you can see that is a Roche Mountain. Getting it? And these are the mountains found in the lowlands of glaciation. They are formed due to both erosion and deposition. This is just an overview. So Roche Mountain, this is how the ice was moving. And this is an example of an crag and tail. This is a tail and this is the understanding? This is a crag and this is a tail. और ये जो पीछे का पार्ट मैंने जो बताया था कि it is formed due to deposition. So this, then crag and then tail. Royal Road of England, and you should understand ये फोटो इंडिया का है, छोटा ये फोटो है महाराष्ट्र का. So you can understand that this is how peninsular plateau was under the glaciation. Obviously ये फोटो देख के पता लगता है यूरोप का है. So this is, we will find that this is the temperate tropics, the crag and tail topography. अब one of the most interesting thing about the glacier is इसके आगे का landforms is in the regions of glaciation. Up when the glacier will start coming downwards, it is come to the lowland region. Lowland में temperature increase हो रहा है, and because the temperature increase हो रहा है, will the glacier start getting converted into water? Yes, the glacier will start getting converted into water, and as a result of this, the ice will start depositing. Water आते ही water का characteristics क्या है? It will engage in deposition. So there will be numerous deposits which will be formed in the regions of glaciers. जैसे अलग-अलग glaciers आ रहे हैं और the glacier is there, it is having large rocks. पहले तो solid में there is no deposition, it can carry all the large rocks. अब जैसे ही it is converted into water, it will start engaging in deposition. And river की खासियत याद रखना, water की खासियत, water has the characteristics that it will deposit the greater, heavier deposits first, and it can carry the finer deposits later on. So it starts depositing the bigger sediments first, and the finer sediments are carried by the water and then deposited. So as a result of this, ये एक topography बन जाती. Same thing happens because glaciers, tributary glaciers भी होंगे, and as a result of this, you will find such kind of an topography is formed. ऐसे glacier move कर रहा है, so finer deposits are elongated, and the larger deposits will remain in this place. Getting it? Everyone? Bigger rocks, finer rocks. फिर over the period of time weathering होके और finer rocks. And as a result of this, in the glaciated regions, UPSC का one of the favorite है, we have what is known as whale back. मगरमच्छ की back जैसा, whale back topography. Whale is magarmach, right? What is the name of whale in Hindi? Whale ऐसा होता है? At least you are looking like, it is looking like a whale. So this kind of an topography which looks like a whale back topography is known as drumlins. Is known as drumlins. So you could see this properly, is known as drumlins. And drumlins, as you can see, always will occur in groups, and therefore they are also known as basket of eggs topography. Also known as a basket of eggs topography. Why basket of eggs? Egg का अंडे का ट्रे देखना आज मार्केट में, अंडा खाली जगह, दूसरा अंडा खाली जगह, and therefore they are known as a basket of egg topography. Getting it? And at the end part of a glacier, when the glacier starts after the drumlins, when ज़्यादा पानी हो जाता है in the glaciers, what is the characteristic of water? सीधा जाएगा या meander करेगा? The water will start meandering in the lowlands, and this is how melting of ice, mixture of ice and water, and it starts meandering. But it is having sediments, and as a result of this, when the water starts meandering, it will start depositing the sediments. Over the period of time, the sediments have been deposited, and pani jo bhi tha, it has got evaporated or it has went away, and therefore this is the top view. We find a very interesting feature in the glacier, the mountains which are in a meandering manner, and this meandering mountains or ridges are known as eskers. Ice has starting to melt. The glacier has melted. It is carrying large amount of sediments. When it is melted, matlab kya ban gaya? It has become water. And what is the property of water? It will start to meander. As it starts to meander, it will, water ka dusra property hai, it will deposit. So it has deposited the sediments in its path. Path kaisa hai? Meandering. And as a result of this, we find sediments deposit ho ke mountains ban gaye, ridges ban gaye, long narrow mountains. And this long narrow mountains which are sinuous or meandering are known as eskers. Getting it? And the last topography that is associated with the glaciers is, glacier comes with huge speed. Unlike water, it cannot engage in sorting of the sediments. Sorting of the sediments means bigger sediments, फिर smaller. When the glacier melts, जो भी sediments है, वो उस part में deposit कर देता है. And as a result of this, if this is a land, we may find sediments. The rocks are there in the glacier. जो पहला ice था, these rocks are there. Are they under pressure of snow from all the sides? And because they are under the pressure, वो एक दूसरे से चिपक जाते हैं. And when the snow melts, जिस position में थे rocks अंदर, उसी position में डाले जाते हैं. Means in the glaciated regions, you will find a smaller rock at the bottom, a big rock उसके ऊपर, और smaller rock उसके ऊपर, उससे ऊपर और एक big rock, which are found as it is in the regions of glacier. Q, because when they were inside the ice of a glacier, they were compressed to such an extent कि वो चिपक गए एक दूसरे से. आटा बन गया उनका, when चिपक गए. When the glacier melted, वो वहीं के वैसे ही रह गए. So this rocks defy the law of physics. Science explain कर सकता है कि छोटा rock क्यों नीचे ऊपर कैसे base बना रहा है? Nothing. And therefore, these are known as erratics. These are known as erratics. Erratics, people who studied glacier initially were irritated by looking at these landforms, and therefore then gave the name erratics. They could not find the answer for this landforms. Understanding this? So this is all about the glaciated topography. Getting it? So drumlins, low hills occurring in groups made up of boulder, clay, generally occurring in groups, are known as the basket of egg topography, or they are also known as oval whaleback hummocks. Whaleback appearance hai inka. So this is an example of a drumlin. Okay? Made up of boulder clay, matlab kya? Clay means very fine sediments. So jo rocks the andar, when the glacier was there, इतना compress किया कि rocks बन गए very fine clay, और वो deposit हुआ, and therefore word is boulder clay. Boulder is rock, clay is very fine, मैदे जैसा. So drumlins are low hills occurring in groups, having whaleback appearance, and they are known as the basket of egg topography. This is just one drumlin which is there. But if you want to see the group of drumlins, this is how the drumlins will always occur in groups. This all are the drumlins. इसलिए जब ऊपर से देखते हैं तो mountains खाली रही है. Therefore they are known as the basket of egg topography. Understanding this? After that, what is this? Eskers. You can see how the mountains, पानी melt हो गया, समंदर बन गया या lake बन गया, whatever, but the deposits remained up, and this is what is known as an eskers. Long, narrow, meandering, sinuous ridges are known as eskers. Getting this? You will see scenery is very good in the regions of glaciers. Pani hai, clean water is there, the topography is very, very complex. Fine? Understood everyone, eskers? What is the key word you should remember? Eskers, depositional landfall or erosional? Depositional. Drumlins, depositional. What is the difference between them? One is the basket of egg topography, and the other is long, narrow, sinuous ridges. फिर after that water होगा उसमें and the plants can grow. ड्रमलिन वाइट कलर के भी बहुत है, अंटार्कटिक, आर्कटिक रीजन में, कश्मीर में भी ऊपर लेह लद्दाख में जाओगे तो यू विल फाइंड ड्रमलिन्स विच आर टोटली येलोइश इन कलर. ट्रॉपिक्स का नहीं है, ये टेम्परेट रीजन्स का है. ट्रॉपिक्स में तो हो ही नहीं सकता. यू कैन सी दिस इज कॉनिफरस फॉरेस्ट, स्ट्रेट जा रहा है. फाइन. एंड दिस इज व्हाट इज एराटिक्स. एज इफ किसी ने इसको लाके रखा है. सो द एराटिक्स. हाँ, कश्मीर में करते हैं लोग. So these are erratics, that is they were the boulders. देखो this entire was glacier. अब glacier has melted, जो अंदर जैसा था वैसे ही it has been put, and you can see this is Roche mountain, or this can be Drumlin. But what is this? This is Roche mountain. Drumlin हमेशा groups में होगा, and Drumlin will be even smaller in height. And this is how the entire glacial topography will be. This is again a photo of Himalayas. Corries, pyramidal peaks, getting it? And this, यहाँ से एक glacier आया, यहाँ से एक glacier आया, sides को उसने erode किया, erosion से बन गए moraines. So this is a moraine, debris that is deposited at the middle. So this is glacial debris. You should just remember what is moraine, glacial debris. Don't do from Jisiliong what is terminal moraine, what is the ground moraine, what is the medial moraine. ज़रूरत नहीं है हमें GS के लिए, especially with the present pattern from last 15-20 years. Understanding? And lastly, in some of the regions, when the glaciers do not melt and they directly go into the sea, example Baltic Sea, चारों side में glaciers है, they directly go into the sea. We have a special kind of an coast which is known as fjord or fjord coast. What happens in the fjord or the fjord coast? Glaciers are coming and directly going into the coast, and because glaciers are flowing, when the CWM or Kori, not the glacier, CWM or Kori, directly यहाँ से glacier originate हुआ and it is going. So will it cut the mountains? Glacier, yes, it will cut the land जहाँ से it is flowing into the sea. So you can see in this region, in the regions of fjord coast or fjord coast, FJ भी है, FI भी है. Water or sea is always having the back of very steep high mountains. Again continental drift याद करना, इसीलिए lemmings migrate होते थे, यहाँ पे आने के बाद they used to fall down and ऐसा लगता था mass suicide. Lemmings of Norway. So this is a typical Norwegian coast. It is a type of coast found in the higher latitudes of the temperate regions. Why? Because they are submerged U-shaped glacial trough. This fjord coast or fjord coast will be found in the regions जहाँ पे once they were glaciated. कौन सा regions will be glaciated? Obviously in the higher latitudes. So this is how a fjord coast, this is the diagram that I have taken from GC Leong only. So this is how the fjord coast is, a U-shaped glacial trough. एक ज़माने में glacier था, after the end of Pleistocene ice age क्या हो गया? पानी हो गया, and as a result of this समंदर बन गया, but now there is only mountain. So the question they will ask UPSC, is it good for navigation? No. Can you see? ये बड़ी ships को रोक देगा. So you have to understand this diagram. This is the coast. This is the water. So mountains है, ये side view है, ये top view है. ये ऐसा mountain है पूरा और ये U-shaped valley चली गई है अंदर. Getting it? This is a U-shaped valley और ये tributary glaciers. So as a result of this, water. This is the water and this is the land, top view. This is the land, and this is the water. So you remember, it is not good for navigation as such. Coast have the backdrop of very, very high mountains. So backdrop of high mountains, the ports construct करना is difficult, सबसे पहले. Secondly, you can see there is a lesser chance, greater chance कि wind का speed ज़्यादा होगा due to the resistance of the mountains and waves etc. will be greater. Getting it? But for prelims, remember, Jord coastline is not good for navigation. Secondly, because the ship fishing के लिए बहुत अच्छी है क्योंकि fishes यहाँ पे trap हो गई. So Norway is one of the rich fishing nations, but it is not a coastal superpower क्योंकि बड़ा container वो यहाँ अंदर आ ही नहीं सकता. Because कोई भी glaciated trough नीचे as the erosion power decreases, you can see ये threshold होता ही है. ये ऐसे हो रहा है erosion. So maximum erosion is occurring here, and इसलिए ये deep चला जाता है, ये इतना deep नहीं जाता. Understanding? This was the earlier land, but now when the glacier is moving downwards, कैसे erode कर रहा है? Like scooping. So erosion maximum यहाँ हो रहा है, and as a result of this, yes. कौन सा? स्पीड यहाँ ज़्यादा है, स्पीड यहाँ पे आते आते ऐसे जा रहा है, डिक्रीज हो रही है, इसलिए जहाँ स्पीड ज़्यादा है वो ज़्यादा इरोड हो रहा है. ये स्पीड कम हो रहा है इसलिए नहीं इरोड हो रहा. Fjord, the word is Norwegian word. नहीं, you only tell me. So his question is this: which of the following countries will be having fjords? So which of the following countries will be having fjords? USA? Yes. Alaska. कहीं पे भी higher latitude, it will be having fjords. Canada? Yes. Finland? Yes. Norway? Chile? Look at Chile. Chile is the southernmost. नीचे Antarctic, the Argentina, Chile. Chile tip है. South Africa? No. Tropic of Cancer जाता है South Africa से. This is only after 60 degrees. जो glaciated है. South Africa was not glaciated. Australia? नहीं. New Zealand? Yes. क्योंकि New Zealand और ज़्यादा. Australia India जैसा है. Same as India. The only thing is India north में है, वो south में है. ये क्वेश्चन टफ है, जब तक पता नहीं है लोकेशनल ये आंसर नहीं कर सकते. सदर्न हेमिस्फीयर में सिर्फ न्यूजीलैंड एंड चिली में होगा. मैप प्रॉपरली देखो, वर्ल्ड मैप देखो. ऑस्ट्रेलिया तो बहुत ऊपर है, उसके बहुत नीचे न्यूजीलैंड है. ऑस्ट्रेलिया इज अ ट्रॉपिकल कंट्री, डेजर्ट है ऑस्ट्रेलिया में. इंडिया में फिर भी नॉर्थ में हिमालयाज है, राइट. सो इसलिए न्यूजीलैंड इज प्रॉपर ग्लेशियर, क्योंकि न्यूजीलैंड लाइक जापान इज 80% माउंटेनियस प्लस टेम्परेट, इसलिए बहुत कोल्ड क्लाइमेट. ना ट्रॉपिक्स में होगा तो मालदीव्स अटॉल्स है, वो तो सेशेल्स अटॉल्स है. Four and 5. Getting it? Which of the following are not associated with the glaciers? So U-shaped valleys? Yes. Drumlins? Yes. Moraines? Yes. Interlocked spurs? No. Rivers के साथ. V-shaped valleys? Rivers के साथ. So the answer is 4 and 5. हाँ हाँ नहीं, लैंडफॉर्म है वो. हाँ, लैंडफॉर्म से. मोरेन्स मतलब जो ग्लेशियर ने तोड़ के रॉक्स लाए उसको हम कहेंगे मोरेन्स. This one. इसलिए तो एवलांच आएगा. Fine with this? So, understanding the drumlins in simple words. कोई डाउट था ड्रमलिन्स में? किसी और लैंडफॉर्म में डाउट है? आई फॉरगॉट टू पुट इन दिस. So this is an example of an birch grunt. So this is an birch grunt. I will put that in the slide. Why? And these are the humans. Remember, those are looking at the glaciers. These are the humans, and this is the crack which poses the maximum death and destruction. There are still people who will cross the birch grunt. So the deepest cracks which are found in the glaciated regions are known as birch grunt. Fine with this? Vertical limit. Fine with this? The glacial landforms? What? Geography optional. ऑप्शनल में है. 3 थियरीज है उसकी. मीन्स ड्रमलिन्स पे पहुंचते पहुंचते बिगर बाउल्डर्स बचेंगे ही नहीं. हाँ, ड्रमलिन्स में. I guess this we have not done. Have we done this? किसमें? ग्लेशियर में? मेरे नोट्स दे दूंगा पीपीटी में ये करके. So desert landforms will be found in both hot and cold deserts of the world. So if we want to see the hot deserts, सबसे पहले what do you mean by desert? Desert का meaning है where nothing grows. Why nothing grows? Because rainfall or moisture is less than evaporation. Precipitation is less than evaporation, and therefore these regions are always moisture deficit regions of the world. Now when we look at the deserts, there are basically two kinds of deserts: cold and hot deserts of the world. The cold deserts of the world are also known as mid-latitude deserts. Don't write anything, I'll tell you all these things. Mid-latitude deserts, that is, they are found in the middle latitudes. While the hot deserts of the world we have just done in climatology, they are known as the trade wind deserts or tropical deserts or hot deserts. Why trade wind deserts? Because they are always located on the western coast of the continents in the trade wind belt. Why they are located in the trade wind belt? Because यहाँ पे the easterlies, the trade winds are यहाँ से आ रही है, trade winds they are offshore. So as a result of this, we have desert here. The trade winds are coming from here, right? Subtropical high pressure belt, equatorial low, subtropical high. The एक wind ऐसे is coming here. The second wind is coming from here. Can you imagine this? And therefore, we have we have one of the driest deserts in the world. What we will call this as an Atacama desert. Then again, this is the belt of trade winds, subtropical high pressure belt. उसके बाद तो westerlies है. No, Atacama is a hot desert. That is wrongly given that it is a cold desert. बहुत सारे बुक्स में मैंने देखा है. Atacama is the perfect example of an hot desert. Humboldt current कहाँ जाता है? El Nino कहाँ पे है? Atacama desert. तो cold current are always near hot deserts. हमने किया था ये. Cold current कहाँ पे होते हैं? Hot deserts के पास. यहाँ पे भी तो cold current है. यहाँ पे भी cold current है. Here also there is a cold current. Here also there is a cold current. So many class notes have given Atacama as a cold desert, which is wrong. Atacama में कुछ part है cold desert क्योंकि Andes का ऊपर का part है. Atacama is the driest and the most difficult hot desert. Tropics में El Nino के समय Atacama में बारिश होता है. What is El Nino? Temperate regions या tropical regions? Tropical regions. So this is Namib desert. This is the Kalahari desert. Ab you understand, because Asia and Africa are met, यहाँ पे trade winds है. So till the time trade winds यहाँ पे they are originating, they don't have any moisture. So even if they come here, they cannot give rainfall, and therefore we have the largest desert in the world, which is known as Sahara desert, and it is extending into the West Asia also. So this is the Sahara desert. And this is the West Australian desert or the Great Australian desert. So if you can see from the diagram itself, which is the second largest hot desert of the world, the Great Australian Desert is the second largest hot deserts of the world. This is Atacama. This is Mojave Desert, और मैक्सिको में उसका नाम है सोनोरान डेजर्ट. Mojave Desert is famous for landforms known as Nevada. आपने वीडियो गेम भी खेला है, Sierra Nevada. See, Nevada is the landforms in the desert. खेला है कि नहीं? रोड रेसर, NFS. उसमें सबसे कॉमन है जो फ्री एंटाइटलमेंट है, दैट इज नेवाडा का ट्रैक. सो दिस इज व्हाट इज द hot deserts, and they all are washed by cold currents. Which is this current? California. Which is this current? Humboldt, or it is also known as Peruvian current. Whenever this Peruvian current is replaced by counter equatorial waters, you will call this as El Nino. This is Benguela current. This is Canary current. This is West Australian. और इन सब के बीच और एक हॉट डेजर्ट है, बट नॉट फॉर्म ड्यू टू एनी ऑफ दिस कंडीशन, इज हमारा स्पेशल, दैट इज द थार डेजर्ट. थार डेजर्ट नहीं, गोबी इज अ कोल्ड डेजर्ट, इज द थार डेजर्ट. सो इंडिया में याद रखना, एवरीथिंग इज एन एक्सेप्शन. So the natural जो वर्ल्ड का क्लाइमेट एक्सप्लेन करता है वो इंडिया का नहीं करता. सो आई वाज टीचिंग येस्टरडे ज्योग्राफी ऑप्शनल ऑल्सो, जो वर्ल्ड का इकोनॉमिक थियरी है, रॉस्टोस का स्टेजेस ऑफ ग्रोथ, वो इंडिया को एक्सप्लेन नहीं करता. इंडिया के लिए उनका ही कहना है कि अलग से थियरी बना हुआ. इंडिया विल नेवर फॉलो द कन्वेंशनल थियरी. सो यू कैन सी हियर ऑल्सो, सारे हॉट डेजर्ट्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड आर लोकेटेड इन द वन पर्टिकुलर बेल्ट. इंडिया का हॉट डेजर्ट इज ड्यू टू प्रेजेंस ऑफ अरावलीज. कल समझ में आएगा इंडियन ज्योग्राफी. And then we have some of the cold deserts. Why? Because westerly winds या कोई भी winds cannot cross the mountains. So यहाँ पे we have Andes, and therefore one of the important cold deserts is Argentina का Patagonia desert. This is the subtropical high pressure belt. उसके बाद westerlies. Westerlies cannot cross Andes. Then we have already done this, Tarim Basin, or what you can say, Taklamakan Desert. Which country? China. China. And then we will have here the Gobi Desert. Gobi Desert, Mongolia. उसके बाद ऊपर भी deserts है, and that is well understood that it is Antarctic and Arctic, that are also the cold deserts of the world. Fine with this? Cold current. कौन सा? Patagonia desert is a cold desert because it does not have very high temperature. It is not in tropics. Falkland current is an exception यहाँ पे. Patagonia is a desert because winds cannot cross. So एक चीज आप याद रखना, अगर उन्होंने पूछा एग्जाम में, तो hot deserts are due to the offshore trade winds plus horse latitudes, right? Plus cold currents. They are located in the subtropical high pressure belt. उसको हम क्या कहते हैं? We call this as an horse latitudes. While the cold deserts of the world, we have all done this in detail, are due to effects of high mountains or on the leeward side of high mountains, right? Leeward landward side of high mountains. And then we already know this. Hurricanes, जहाँ जहाँ warm currents है, hurricanes, जिनको हम कहते हैं cyclones, and willies, right? And यहाँ पे typhoons. जहाँ जहाँ warm current है, we will find this cyclones, hurricanes or typhoons. Getting it? So with this, we come to the now desert landforms. We have all done this. Now prelims के लिए ऐसे revise करो, make diagrams, make micro notes और पूरी चीज़ अगर कुछ नहीं समझ में आ रहा है तो ही do reverse engineering and read that topic from the book. It is impossible कि you will do all the topics. Solve as many MCQs. नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, go to that page in the book. Can I continue? Try coming to class for Indian geography. Indian geography घर में फिर आज का वीडियो कल देखोगे, कल का परसों, परसों का फिर इंटरेस्ट चला जाएगा और सबसे ज़्यादा मार्क्स के लिए आएगा इंडियन ज्योग्राफी. आई विल टेल यू मेनी थिंग्स रिगार्डिंग एग्रीकल्चर, बायोडाइवर्सिटी, स्कीम्स. सो ये सब चाहे आने जाने में आधा घंटा जाएगा, बट स्टिल इट विल बी बेनिफिशियल फॉर यू. विल बी सॉल्विंग द MCQs, एटलीस्ट सम MCQs ऑन द डेली बेसिस. कल जो हम पढ़ाएंगे उसका हम MCQs क्लास के बाद ही तभी लास्ट 10 मिनट सॉल्व करेंगे. बिकॉज इंडियन ज्योग्राफी हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी श्योर. जब पता है 12 क्वेश्चंस आने वाले हैं तो यू हैव टू बी वेरी श्योर. दस से 11. Can I continue? What is the most important agent of erosion in the deserts? What is the deserts में भी like same like river, but हमको river में का ही detail में करना पड़ता है. There are some of the erosional landforms and there are some of the depositional landforms. Right? There will be some landforms which will be erosional, some will be depositional. Erosional when the speed of the wind is greater. Depositional when the speed of the wind decreases. So because wind is the most important agent of erosion in the deserts, though water will play a role. जैसे glaciers में भी water ने बाद में role play किया, वैसे winds के साथ when the water is going to play the role. Therefore we say water is the universal agent of erosion. Getting it? I guess everyone is following? Fine. अब wind when it is an important agent of erosion, याद रखना wind के दो characteristics है. एक तो wind does not have any particular direction, that is it changes the direction frequently, right? And second, wind का कोई डायरेक्शन नहीं होता कभी, unlike river, glacier, कभी इस साइड से आ रही है, कभी local wind आ रही है, so it will change the direction. And second, wind is an active agent of erosion only up to what? Greater height या lower height. जब winds चलती है तो winds will go with great speed and they will carry many of the dust particles. But नीचे की तरफ या ऊपर भी कभी ऐसे देखा है कि विंड है, तूफान है एंड देयरफॉर बड़े बड़े पत्थर आ रहे हैं, आपको मार रहे हैं, यू आर वेयरिंग हेलमेट एंड टेकिंग द शील्ड? नहीं, बिकॉज विंड की खासियत है, विंड डज नॉट हैव पावर टू लिफ्ट बिग रॉक्स. वो तो ब्लो करेगी But rocks, which are the tools of erosion, they will be, wind does not have power to lift them. Glacier has power. The water has power to flow them. Therefore, wind is an active agent of erosion only at lower height. In fact, 3 feet के बाद wind का erosion का effectiveness goes. It is only up to surface and subsurface level. It is maximum is 180 centimeters, but to some extent we can say it is 3 feet, 4 feet. Surface के just ऊपर. So don't go by the word subsurface level. So surface मतलब surface के नीचे हो गया subsurface. So wind is an active agent of erosion just above the surface, very at a greater height, and therefore अगर wind है, suppose you are a rock और आप खड़े हो wind में, एक तो आपको पता नहीं है किस साइड से आप इरोड होने वाले हो. रिवर है तो आपको पता है इसी साइड से इरोड होने वाले हो. विंड का कोई गारंटी नहीं. सेकंड, वो सिर्फ आपके पैरों को काटेगी. सो एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस वी से if this is a rock that is found in the desert, it will be eroded from all the sides but only at the bottom, and therefore in the deserts one of the rocks we find common landform that is found in the desert is what we will call them as mushroom rocks. Getting it? Why mushroom rocks? Because wind is an agent of erosion only at a lower depth, lower height. It can carry tools मतलब stones. Wind खुद से हवा तक erode नहीं कर पाएगी. कभी ऐसे हुआ है कि रूम में आप 3 घंटे बैठे और फिर इरोजन शुरू हो गया? नहीं, क्योंकि हवा तो इधर भी है. It has to have tools, dust particles, stones, and the stones will be carried only, and therefore any rock will be eroded from all the sides but only at a base, and therefore we will call this as a mushroom rocks, very common in the deserts. That depends, because एक बार ये rock erode हो गया फिर से गिर जाएगा. ये सबसे बेस पे इरोड होगा, गिर जाएगा, फिर से वो प्रोसेस चालू होते रहेगा. (180 सेंटीमीटर्स) 180 सेंटीमीटर्स, मीटर्स नहीं. 180 सेंटीमीटर 180 सेंटीमीटर 6 फीट हो गया. 180 centimeters is, मैं CSAT नहीं पढ़ाने वाला. So 180 centimeters is 6 feet. So the second landform in the desert, understand here, the second landform, this is the rocks which are there, and deserts में सबसे common क्या दिखता है is the sand. Fine. So there is a sand which is present in the deserts. And कोई भी region in our real life is not flat, ऊपर नीचे होता है. So if the wind is blowing, देखो, there is no resistance to the wind, trees bees का. So the wind का speed in the desert is very high, and therefore it blows the sands. So over the period of time, if it starts blowing the sand from here, over the period of time, suppose यहाँ का sand it is blowing, so a depression form हुआ. अब नेक्स्ट टाइम जब विंड आएगी इस डिप्रेशन से ऐसे जाएगी, सो और सैंड्स को उठाएगी ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. सो ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम विंड विल पिक अप सैंड्स फ्रॉम सम ऑफ द डिप्रेशंस एंड blow it, resulting into the deepening of depressions, and we will call such sand blown depressions that are formed as deflation hollows. Wind comes, takes away the sand, जहाँ से sand है, and therefore a depression is formed. उस depression को क्या कहेंगे? Deflation hollows. अब deflation word कहाँ से आया? Deflation means the process by which wind picks the sand particles and blows away. Understand, in water can be anywhere. There can be a groundwater here, and if the deflation hollows are very, very deep, then over the period of time, नीचे का water is exposed, and you then know what you call this region as oasis. Yes. Yes, we'll see in the atlas. Deflation hollow, famous depression is Katara depression. पानी का लेवल ऊपर रहेगा तो water can be there anywhere. ग्राउंड वाटर कहीं पे भी होता है. राजस्थान में भी कुएं हैं कि नहीं है? So why ground water is there? Ground water depends upon past climate, upon the topography, upon the rainfall. There are many factors. Rajasthan में कहाँ से है ground water? Once upon a time it was below the sea. Once upon a time Saraswati river used to flow through this. So that is a ground water. Understanding this? So it results into the formation of deflation hollows. So before we go to the slides, you take down this. हम ये लिखेंगे क्योंकि ये थोड़ा important है as compared to glaciers. So wind is the most active agent of erosion. Wind is the most active agent of erosion. Wind is the most active agent of erosion in the deserts. In the deserts. Full stop. कल अगर क्वेश्चन आता है, wind is the only agent of erosion in the desert. No, false. पानी कहीं पे भी हो सकता है. Understanding? Rainfall. जयपुर में हर 10 साल बाद बाढ़ आती है. Last year was a flood in Rajasthan. Convectional rainfall. So water is a universal agent. Rivers, Vango कहाँ से जा रही है? Desert से. Grand Canyon कहाँ पे है? Desert में. River Luni कहाँ पे है? Desert में. River Indus later on कहाँ पे है? Desert. Sindh is what? Desert part of Pakistan? What? पानी सिर्फ विंटर रेन में तो होता होगा. अब नाला क्यों है? ये इंडियन ज्योग्राफी है. रॉन्ग क्रॉपिंग पैटर्न. गन्ना लेते हो, शुगर केन, सो पानी कहाँ बचेगा? अंडरस्टैंड? सो दिस इज द रॉन्ग क्रॉपिंग पैटर्न. दिस इज where I was wind does not have any specific direction. Does not have any specific direction. And is an active agent of erosion. Is an active agent of erosion. Active agent of erosion. Only at near the ground. Only near the ground. Only near the ground. Wind acts. Wind acts in following ways. In following ways. सबसे पहले deflation. Remember this for prelims. What is deflation? The process by which the sand particles are lifted. The process by which the sand particles are lifted. Sand particles are lifted. Full stop. Deflation results into deflation results into formation of depressions known as deflation hollows. If water is exposed, these are the regions of, if water is exposed, these are the regions of oasis. Open the atlas. and open the map of Africa. Open the map of Africa. Africa. पेज नंबर बता देना. 92. Physical map of Egypt देखना. Where is Egypt? Near Suez Canal. Physical map of Egypt. Near Red Sea. And you will find the deepest deflation hollow that has been formed, जो एटलस में प्रॉपरली दिया है, and वहाँ पे दिया है कटारा डिप्रेशन, 133 मीटर्स बिलो द ग्राउंड, 130 मीटर. इंडिया में पानी 25 मीटर से मिलना शुरू हो जाता है. सो इट इज 133 मीटर्स बिलो द ग्राउंड. दैट इज द डीपेस्ट डिफ्लेशन हॉलो. मिला कटारा डिप्रेशन. सो ये मैच द कॉलम जैसे आएंगे. कटारा डिप्रेशन, country, which of the following pairs is not correctly matched? So Katara depression is example Egypt. Example is the Katara depression. Next, we are doing the mechanisms of wind erosion. So deflation hollow is what? Erosional or depositional landform? Erosional. So एक है डिफ्लेशन, दूसरा इज एब्रेशन. मैकेनिज्म्स ऑफ विंड इरोजन, दूसरा इज एब्रेशन. When wind particles, when wind carries the sand particles, when wind carries the sand particles and hit the rock and hit the rock, eroding the rocks, it is known as abrasion. Eroding the rocks, it is known as abrasion. It is known as abrasion. Eroding the rocks, it is known as abrasion. Or sand blasting. सैंड ब्लास्टिंग आपके साथ भी होता है. अगर आप तूफान में जाए और द विंड कम्स, आंखों में जाती है, इट्स, सो दैट इज द सैंड ब्लास्टिंग. दैट इज द मैकेनिज्म ऑफ एब्रेशन. थर्ड, कैन एवरीवन सी? आई विल कीप द प्रोजेक्टर ऑन. इज इट फाइन? अभी attrition. Attrition. When rock particles, what is attrition? याद करो रिवर के लैंडफॉर्म्स. When the rock particles rub against themselves. So when the rock particles, or when the rock particles rub against themselves and become smaller, that is attrition. Abrasion, पत्थर आके तुम्हें मारा तो abrasion. Understanding? कौन इरोड होगा? And अगर पत्थर एक दूसरे से, when they are blowing in the wind, getting it? Understand what is the difference between abrasion? Abrasion means if something is coming and eroding us, this is abrasion. Abrasion क्या है? This is abrasion. ये rough है, and therefore when I rub this, it gets eroded. This is abrasion. Attrition becomes smaller and falls. A fourth, you tell me true or false. Solution? Will it be a mechanism in desert? नहीं. Solution कहाँ पे होगा? Rivers में. So what is the mechanism by wind erosion? ऐसे prelims में question आते हैं. Which of the following is a mechanism of wind erosion in deserts? ये तीन देंगे. Deflation, abrasion, attrition, solution. And they will, solution होगा? No. Solution will be there in the waters. जहाँ जहाँ पानी है वहाँ पे solution होगा. Getting it? Very simple question comes because this is core geography. Even UPSC will avoid going into this. क्योंकि ये एक फिर एक अलग ही पार्ट है. किसका? यस, केमिकल वेदरिंग का एंड केमिकल इरोजन का भी. सो इरोजनल लैंडफॉर्म्स, इरोजनल लैंडफॉर्म्स, इरोजनल लैंडफॉर्म्स किसका? एब्रेशन का, मशरूम रॉक्स. विल राइट इरोजनल लैंडफॉर्म्स इसमें इन डेजर्ट्स. सिर्फ इतना याद रखना एग्जाम के लिए, कौन सा इरोजनल है, कौन सा डिपोजिशनल है, कौन सा रिवर का है, कौन सा ग्लेशियर का है. दे डोंट इवन आस्क उनका डेफिनेशंस. सो देयर इज नो पॉइंट इन वेस्टिंग एनर्जी डूइंग विच इज नॉट बीन आस्क्ड, एंड इट विल नॉट इवन कम ऑल्सो. कौन सा? These are mechanisms of erosion. Mechanisms, methods, erosional landforms. So सबसे पहला erosional landform we have just done is deflation hollows. लिखने की फिर से जरूरत नहीं. Fine. And you will find this is an example of an deflation hollow. This is an example of a deflation hollow. A depression has been formed in the desert. Fine. I have given you jitna important hai utna, and we'll write also some of the things. Second, we'll do first the landforms, then we'll write. So deflation hollow, any problem? You can see oasis also there. Water table is exposed. Switch off the lights. किसकी? विंड की ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम डिक्रीज होगी. पहले इंक्रीज हो रही थी. कौन सा? ये विंड्स में लैंडफॉर्म स्टेशनरी नहीं है, सैंड है, कभी भी विंड निकाल सकती है सैंड. रॉक्स नहीं है वो. एंड दिस इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ एन मशरूम रॉक. ओनली द लोअर पार्ट इज इरोडेड, ऊपर पार्ट का वैसा ही रहा. सो दिस इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ एन मशरूम रॉक. अब ब्लैक वाइट ये कलर दिया होगा किसी ने जहाँ से मैंने फोटो लिया होगा. सो डोंट गो बाय ये लाइमस्टोन है, ऊपर इग्नियस है, ऐसा नहीं है. सिंगल रॉक है, इट हैज गॉट इरोडेड. सो rocks eroded from all the sides, only from the base. It is also known as rock pedestal. Pedestal matlab stand. Fine. And it is also known as gore in Sahara. So will you write this? Mushroom rocks. Should I switch on the lights or is it visible? So you can take mushroom rocks. Yes. Sustained erosion तो होगा. It will depend upon the type of, even this is a mushroom rock. Fine. It will, ये normal rock है जो ज़्यादा erode हुआ. Even this is a mushroom rock. This is a person who is standing. Okay, this is a mushroom rock. So, and जो tougher rocks है, they will be eroded less. But the rocks will be eroded only from the sides. जो दूसरे rocks है, they will be eroded much greater. So you can take down. As the wind does not have any specific direction, as the wind does not have any specific direction, as the wind does not have any specific direction, the rocks are eroded from all the sides. Rocks are eroded from all the sides, but only from the base. But only from the base. Such rocks are known as mushroom rocks. Such rocks are known as mushroom rocks. और इन सहारा डेजर्ट क्या स्पेसिफिक नाम है उनका? गौर. It is given in your PPT also. Now, this is very interesting landform which is found in the desert. दोनों एक जैसे है, Yardangs and Zeugens, but the difference is, देखो, there is an mass of hard rock. They may be formed due to different conditions. Soft rock, hard rock, and soft rock. Hard rock again, there can be soft rock. So, for example, this region is rock is hard. This is soft. This is hard. This is soft, and this is hard. There can be continuous. So, and they are in which manner? Horizontal or vertical? They are in a vertical manner. Now, when the wind is flowing, which rock will be more eroded? Soft rock will be eroded, and the hard rock will be eroded much lesser. So, when the hard and soft rocks are found in the vertical manner, don't write, listen, when the hard and soft rocks are found in vertical manner, there is a differential erosion of hard and soft rocks. Differential erosion, matlab hard rock is less and soft rock is more. As a result of this, there is a formation of hard rock, soft rock is greater eroded, hard rock and soft rock, hard rock, ऐसे are differentially eroded, and this results into formation of ridge, mountain of hard rock, जो erode नहीं हुआ. Soft rock क्या हो गया? Erode हो गया. Hard rock जो erode नहीं हुआ. Getting it? Fine. And soft rock has got eroded, and the hard rock is not eroded. So this results into the formation of ridge and furrow. Furrow means lane, by-lane, topography, valley topography. So this, when happens, is known as Yardangs. This is what is Yardangs. Getting it? क्या importance है? The regions जहाँ पे the soft rock has got eroded, that becomes the natural highways in the deserts. उसी से आप जा सकते हो. Otherwise, it is impossible to cut. And you can see, ये hard rocks erode नहीं हुए, the soft rocks have got eroded, and therefore this becomes the ways in the deserts. जहाँ से camel जाता है. Caravans pass through this region. Understanding? अब the second, yes, ये फोटो, हाँ, सबसे कॉमन ये तो मिल जाएंगे लेह लद्दाख में. लेह लद्दाख में you will find, because wind is there, rock is hard more, soft rock erode हो गया, वहाँ से passes बन गए, and hard rock वैसे ही है. नहीं, ये तो मैं लग रहा है वैसे, अभी लगने को तो मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता. Understanding Yardangs? Very simple and easy to remember. याद रखना जिसमें Y है उसमें rocks vertical है, क्योंकि दूसरा landform जो है, when the hard and soft rocks are in horizontal manner, they are known as Zeugens. So मैं तो ऐसे याद रखता था क्योंकि prelims के आगे इसका scope नहीं है. So Yardangs क्या है? सीधी डंडी, when the hard and soft rocks are in vertical manner. Zeugen क्या है? When the hard and soft rocks are in horizontal manner. So that is why I say smart study करो थोड़ा, for नहीं तो पढ़ रहे हो यारदांग्स एंड ज़्यूगेंस के लिए गूगल कर रहे हो, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, या जीसी लियोंग पे रिसर्च कर रहे हो, नहीं समझना ही है टॉपिक को जीएस में, क्या करोगे समझ के 20 साल में एक क्वेश्चन आएगा, 6 साल में अटेम्प्ट्स मैक्सिमम, अगर आपको अटेम्प्ट्स देना है तो मैक्सिमम 6 साल ही देती है यूपीएससी. So this is an hard rock, this is a soft rock. This is hard rock, this is soft rock. Now suppose continuous wind action से the upper part of the rock is eroded, but ये hard rock is less resistant to erosion. ये कम इरोड होगा, फाइन। बट जैसे ही सॉफ्ट रॉक एक्सपोज हुआ, इरोड भी होगा, वेदर भी होगा, बहुत सारे प्रोसेसेस एक साथ चलेंगे। ऐसे नहीं द विंड इज ओनली एक्टिंग, रात को देर इज वेदरिंग ऑल्सो गोइंग ऑन, अल्टरनेट चेंजेस ऑफ टेम्परेचर। जैसे ही सॉफ्ट रॉक इज इरोडेड, विल द सॉफ्ट रॉक बी इरोडेड मच ग्रेटर, सो ये ज्यादा इरोड होगा, फाइन। अगेन हार्ड रॉक एक्सपोज हुआ, हार्ड रॉक कम इरोड होगा, somewhat like this, या मे बी somewhat like this, fine. Again, this is a three-dimensional landscape like this. Getting it? So this is the Zeugens, that is when the hard and the soft rocks lie in horizontal manner, and because of their appearance like this, they are known as ink pot. Topography. Because the hard rock is less resistant to erosion, the soft rock is easily eroded. Hard rock again is less resistant to erosion, while the soft rock is easily eroded. More eroded or easily eroded, resulting into, you can see is in the diagram here, hard rock कम erode हुआ, soft rock ज़्यादा erode हुआ, and you see wind का direction कैसे scratches है, हाँ? So these are what are known as Zeugens. The only difference between Yardang and Zeugen is vertical or horizontal. Fine. You can take down. Have we written Yardangs? You can take down. Figure is more than enough, but not everyone is smart like you. So you can take down Yardang. When the alternate bands of hard and soft rocks, lie in horizontal manner. Lie in Yardangs we are writing. Lie in vertical manner. Hard on soft rocks lie in vertical manner. The wind easily erodes the softer rocks. Easily erodes the softer rocks. Easily erodes the softer rocks, giving rise to ridge, and furrow, ridge and furrow. Topography, ridge and furrow topography, known as Yardangs. The furrows act as natural highways in deserts. Furrows act as natural highways in deserts. Furrows act as natural highways in deserts. Zeugens are formed. We can look at the spelling. Zeugens are formed. Hard rock, soft rock. When the band of hard and soft rocks, are in horizontal manner. Differential erosion. of hard and soft rocks gives rise to ink pot topography. Gives rise to ink pot topography. Gives rise to ink pot topography. Now understand this landscape because ये इंडिया में भी बहुत मिलता है. ज़रूरी नहीं सिर्फ एरिड रीजन में. It is found in Karnataka, it is found in Andhra, it is found in Rajasthan, it is found in Maharashtra, which are semi-arid regions, and plus volcanic regions. So this is a dike, volcano, magma, lava, which comes up, basalt. Understanding? And then after coming up, because it is basalt, it flows for a greater distance and then solidifies. Maybe after some distance there is another dike which is coming up. नीचे से magma is coming up and it is flowing for a greater distance and solidifying. So, and बाकी का rock is a sedimentary rock. ऊपर it has a cap of basalt, which is more tougher. Basalt rather than the sedimentary rock. And बाद में जब winds will be acting on this, even the semi-arid rivers regions में rivers will be acting, the softer rocks will be eroded much faster. कहाँ से? जहाँ पे covering नहीं है hard rock की. But यहाँ पे the hard rock or in the other parts the hard rock, can I say, will protect the soft rocks from getting eroded? Right? Wind is flowing this way. So the soft rock has got eroded, but this hard rock cut top is protecting the soft rock on below from getting eroded. And as a result of this, we will find a special kind of an topography which is capped by the hard rock at the top, which protects the lower softer rocks from getting eroded, and this is known as mesas. Mesa मतलब table top mountain. Mountain बन गया plateau. Can you imagine this? Over the period of time, obviously differential erosion का मतलब ये नहीं the hard rock will not get eroded, even the hard rock will get eroded. And अगर छोटा है hard rock तो वो और ज़्यादा erode हो जाएगा, but at a different rate. So over the period of time, this region, the height of the mesas will reduce. This will get eroded. This will also get eroded by the sustained wind action, and the smaller mesas are known as buttes. Protect the hard rock from getting eroded. They are known as mesas and buttes, and they are always separated by deep valleys. So what are mesas? Mesas is a covering of hard rock, generally basalt or granite, which protects the lower soft rock from getting eroded. They are flat and therefore they are known as tabletop mountains. You have seen this mesa and buttes. Getting this? Volcanic rock, इसने बचा दिया बाकी के rocks को erode होने से. बाकी के सब parts had got eroded. क्योंकि you have to understand यहाँ पे wind is कोई भी एजेंट ऑफ इरोजन इज सो पावरफुल. वेजिटेशन नहीं है, वेजिटेशन नहीं तो स्पीड स्लो नहीं हो रही, वाटर रिटेंशन नहीं है. सो इवन इफ देयर इज लिटिल बिट ऑफ रेनफॉल, देयर इज लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ इरोजन. दिस इज मेसा एंड बटे, कॉमनली सीन इन राजस्थान, कॉमनली सीन इन महाराष्ट्र, कॉमनली सीन इन कर्नाटक, आंध्र प्रदेश. महाराष्ट्र, कर्नाटक, आंध्रा इसलिए क्योंकि दैट इज एन एरिया ऑफ द volcanic eruptions. So अगर if you are going to anywhere in the peninsular India in the near future, और आपको अगर दूर से ऐसे लगेगा कि on the top of mountain there is a strong fort, straight fort है, और नज़दीक जाके जब पता लगता है fort नहीं है तो rock था, तो that is mesa. ये ऐसा straight क्यों है? Because volcano always comes in a straight manner. Getting it? You must have experienced this. अगर कभी घूमने गए हो, दूर से ऐसा लगता है टॉप पे कोई किला बना हुआ है और some fort is there. नज़दीक जाने के बाद पता लगता है कि fort नहीं है, it was just a rock. कॉमन है छोटा नागपुर प्लाटू में, कॉमन है महाराष्ट्र प्लाटू में, कॉमन है आंध्रा में. Getting it? people who are from the north of Narmada will have to imagine, because this region is one of the flattest region of the world and इसलिए इसका नाम है Great Plains. They don't have that much topography. नीचे you will see different topographies. That is why this is good for agriculture and वहाँ पे farmer suicide है. Getting it? So mesas you can take down. Mesa is a mass of very hard rock. Mesa is a mass of very hard rock. Anyone carrying GC Leon? Mesa is a mass of very hard rock. Usually basaltic in origin. Usually basaltic in origin, which protects the lower soft rock from getting eroded. Which protects the lower soft rock from getting eroded. Protects the lower soft rock from getting eroded. This is an example of mesa in India. Deccan lava plateau. Basalt है इसलिए black color है. Matheran, Mahabeshwar, these all are picnic spots, tourist spots. जब स्विट्जरलैंड पे शूटिंग करने नहीं जाते थे गाने की तो यहीं करते थे हॉलीवुड वाले. So you must have seen वो एक गाना है वादा रहा सनम from I guess Khaki movie. So you will see perfectly mesa. This is the second example of mesa and batte. Fine. So you can take down. Getting eroded. When mesas reduce in height, when the mesas reduce in height, they are known as battes. They are known as battes. When the mesas reduce in height, they are known as battes. Mesas and battes are always separated by B-U-T-T-E-S, battes. Mesas and battes are always separated by deep valleys known as canyons. Which is the best canyon in the world? Grand Canyon. Deep valley is known as canyon. Valley is known as canyon. So this is an example of an Grand Canyon, I-shaped valley, straight. और ये कौन सी river है? River Colorado. I guess हमने लिखा है ये सब. Fine. हाँ, desert landform. Colorado River desert landform. Grand Canyon तभी बनेंगे नहीं, वो desert नहीं है, वो basaltic है, semi arid है वो. No, mesas are high mountains. When the mesas ka height reduces, it is known as battes. Fine. What? Next. Prelims के लिए. In India, mesas and battes. Are commonly found in the Deccan Plateau region. ये पूछती है जनरली यूपीएससी की, इंडिया में कहाँ मिलेंगी? Any of this are found in the Deccan Plateau region. What? No, Mount Abu is not Deccan Plateau. Mount Abu is not volcanic. Aravallis है. It is not. Aravallis में नहीं मिलेंगे इतने अच्छे. Mount Abu is not, because Mount Abu is just a normal erosion. वहाँ पे है, कहाँ पे, जहाँ अजमेर के थोड़ा नीचे ये सब पार्ट्स मिलेंगे, जहाँ डेजर्ट थोड़ा अंदर के साइड, चित्तौड़गढ़ के आसपास यू विल फाइंड मेसाज इन इंडिया. यस, फोर्ट्स मेसाज के बिल्कुल इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं एग्जाम के लिए, इसलिए मैं नहीं लिखाऊंगा. वेंटिफैक्ट्स एंड डेरिकेंटर. सो इन द रीजन्स ऑफ डेजर्ट्स जो स्टोन्स है, यू जस्ट नोट डाउन वेंटिफैक्ट्स एंड डेरिकेंटर्स. ओनली दिस थिंग यू शुड रिमेंबर, जो स्टोन्स है, बिकॉज द विंड इज कंटिन्यूसली फ्लोइंग एंड वेदरिंग होगा, दिन में बहुत ज़्यादा गर्मी, रात में बहुत ज़्यादा सर्दी. इट इज़ नॉट एन इरोजनल लैंडफॉर्म, इट्स अ वेदरिंग वाला लैंडफॉर्म. So there will be expansion, contraction, expansion and contraction, and इसलिए stone टूट जाएगा in sharp edges. Such stones which are having very sharp edges are known as ventifacts or dericanters. ये तो डिपेंड करता है कौन सा रॉक है उसके ऊपर. That is the mineral composition. You look at the shape. Shape is ventifact or dericanter. To give you a clear idea, just remember this. This all are the examples of ventifact. But ये पत्थर के बारे में यूपीएससी नहीं पूछेगी. So क्या है? Sharp edged stones found in the deserts are either known as ventifacts or dericanter. Depending upon कितने faces है. 2 है तो ventifact, 3 है तो dericanter. But वो सब नहीं हमें करना है. मतलब depending upon एक फेस है, 2 फेस है, वेंटिफैक्ट. अगर 4 फेसेस है तो डेरिकेंटर. थ्री फेसेस, 4 फेसेस. So what are the erosional landforms? Deflation hollows, mushroom rocks, mesas and battes. Mesas and battes exclusively found in deserts, can even be found in the volcanic regions. Volcanic regions also. उसके बाद ventifacts, dericanters और एक yardangs and zeugens. If you go through past year questions, वो mushroom rocks, yardangs, zeugens and mesas and battes पे यूपीएससी रुक जाती है. But वेंटिफैक्ट्स क्या है? शार्प. जो भी कीवर्ड दिखा शार्प फेस्ड रॉक्स, इट इज वेंटिफैक्ट्स और डेरिकेंटर. सो वैसे भी रिवीजन करते समय यू कैन गो थ्रू दिस. द स्टोन्स फैसेट्स मतलब फेस शेप्ड बाय विंड्स आर नोन एज वेंटिफैक्ट्स एंड डेरिकेंटर. फाइन. अब व्हाट इज द डिपोजिशनल लैंडफॉर्म इन द डेजर्ट? दे आर नोन एज यूज. Sands is deposited and they forms the hills of the sand, and they are known as dunes or sand dunes. That is the hills of the sand. And sand dunes, when we do, they are of different shape, but some sand dunes are longitudinal. I'll explain you all this. Some sand dunes are moon shaped or crescentic. And you will call this sand dunes, जो हमारा common idea है, they are known as barchans. And third type of sand dune is star shaped. Are known as star shaped. Understand what you mean by longitudinal? मतलब सीधे. Wind is flowing with great speed. ये कब होगा? When the wind is flowing with great speed. So imagine रास्ते से, आप रास्ते के साइड में खड़े हुए हैं, ट्रक इज गोइंग विद अ वेरी ग्रेट स्पीड. सो या कोई भी कार जाती है तो वहां की धूल साइड में आपके ऊपर. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? तो सेम टेक्निक अप्लाइज. दिस इज व्हाट इज एडी करंट. when the wind flows with great speed, because of the wind, the sands are picked up and deposited on the sides, and as a result of this, जो sand dunes, understanding? So the sands are picked up and deposited to form sand dunes which are more or less straight or longitudinal in shape, and this longitudinal dunes which are formed parallel to the wind direction, ऐसे जा रही है wind, which are formed parallel to the wind direction, ये top view है, are known as longitudinal dunes or सीफ्स. हम ये लिखेंगे बिकॉज ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि विंड पिक्स अप द सैंड्स एंड इट डिपॉजिट्स ऑन द साइड्स, रिजल्टिंग इनटू फॉर्मेशन ऑफ एन longitudinal dunes known as seeps parallel to the wind direction. Obviously wind is going with great, जब गाड़ी जाती है you come perpendicular to the car का direction या parallel? perpendicular होगा तो क्या होगा? So understanding this, now what is more important is, imagine this is the land, side view of a land. ऐसा diagram means side view of a land, and there is a shrub or there is a stone, anything can be there. Wind is an active agent only at a lower height, and because of the shrub or stone, the wind ka speed is reduced, and therefore wind has started depositing the sand particles. Because of deposition, next time जब wind आएगी तो वो ऐसे ऊपर जाएगी, but उसका speed will reduce, and therefore it will deposit the sand particles. अब as the sand particles accumulate, will the speed of the wind reduce? And because of reduction, there will be further deposition of the sand particles. Understanding? And as a result of this, we will find a sand dune which will grow upwards like this. And once the height of this till or a mound of a sand increases, कुछ sand नीचे गिरेगी and it will extend outwards. So this kind of a dune is what is known as an barchan. Getting it? Wind is going, depositing. फिर height of a रेत का mound is increasing. Because height is increasing, कुछ gravity से नीचे गिरेगा. Gravity से नीचे गिरेगा, wind ऐसे जा रही है, उसको वो elongate करेगा. And as a result of this, we will have barchans forming. Is it not similar to the formation of Roche mountain? The only difference is वहाँ glacier था, यहाँ पे sand है. Physics का base is same. तो this dunes which are perpendicular to the wind direction, क्योंकि wind direction ऐसे है, are known as barchans. Getting it? And sometimes wind का speed when it is, wind का direction is not regular. कभी इस डायरेक्शन से आ रही है विंड, इट हैज डिपॉजिटेड द सेडिमेंट्स. कभी इस डायरेक्शन से आ रही है विंड, इट हैज डिपॉजिटेड द सैंड. कभी फ्रॉम सम अदर डायरेक्शन, फ्रॉम अदर डायरेक्शन. सो जैसे जैसे सैंड ड्यून्स डिपॉजिट होंगे, विल कॉल दिस एज अ स्टार शेप ड्यून. व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द स्टार शेप ड्यून एंड द अदर टू ड्यून्स? अदर टू ड्यून्स आर फॉर्म्ड when wind direction is constant, and star shaped dune is formed when the wind direction is constantly changing. Can I continue? So what is this dune? Seep or longitudinal dune. क्यों नाम है सीफ और लॉन्गिट्यूडिनल ड्यून? बिकॉज सीफ का मतलब है तलवार. सो लॉन्ग लाइक सोर्ड. बिकॉज उसकी बाद में की जो ड्यून है, इट इज मोर लाइक अ मून. दिस इज आवर कॉमन आइडिया ऑफ सैंड ड्यून. सो दिस इज बारशान. दिस इज एन बारशान. ट्रांसवर्स, perpendicular to wind direction. This is parallel to wind direction, which is the most common thing found in deserts, is the barchans. And this is how the barchans in real life may look like. Getting it? And the last kind of a dune is star shaped dune. You will understand it here. Exactly star shape जैसा नहीं होगा, but you can see sand dune. यहाँ पे एक ड्यून, यहाँ पे एक ड्यून. So बीच में का पार्ट उभरा हुआ है, and therefore ऊपर से जब हम देखेंगे, it looks more like a star, and this is what is star shaped dune. Getting it? Everyone? So you can now take sand dunes. कैसे? नहीं, longitudinal dunes and bar chance के लिए the wind direction has to be constant. इंडिया में स्टार शेप ड्यून बहुत कम मिलेंगे. स्टार शेप ड्यून जनरली लोकल विंड से बनते हैं बिकॉज उसका डायरेक्शन चेंज होता है. इंडिया में जैसलमेर में यू विल फाइंड बार चांस and longitudinal dune. So you will find somewhat like this because wind direction has to be constant. And now what is happening is due to this bar chance will always move from one place to another. क्योंकि ये सैंड नीचे गिरेगा और ये सैंड नीचे गिरेगा तो यहाँ माउंट तैयार होगा, फिर आगे ये यहाँ माउंट तैयार होगा. And therefore this process by which the bar chance, this will grow, fall here, accumulate here, ये उभरेगा. This will fall here, accumulate here, ये उभरेगा. This process is what is known as environment में हम करेंगे desertification. The desertification is coming up of bar chance, moving ahead of bar chance, because bar chance are formed only when wind direction is constant. कहाँ पे हो रहा है सबसे ज़्यादा desertification? पंजाब. क्यों? Because the desert is eating Punjab. 8 lakh hectares of fertile agricultural land in Punjab is lost to desert. Desert is increasing in India. Second, desertification हो रहा है यूपी में नीचे से, semi-arid region से. Why is it so? Because we have cut the trees to grow agricultural crops. Trees act as a wind breakers. Now the speed of the wind has increased because we have cut the trees. Crops कहाँ पे they will act as a wind breaker? Maximum height. So therefore we have cut the trees and India is facing the threat of desertification, especially in the southern part of Punjab. So you can take down. Bar chance, sand dunes, hills of sand, hills of sand, hills of sand of different shapes and sizes, of different shapes and sizes, different shapes and sizes, which is the most common depositional feature in the desert, which is the most common depositional feature in the desert, which is the most common depositional feature in the desert, are known as sand dunes, are known as sand dunes. Most common depositional feature in the desert are known as sand dunes. First, seaf or longitudinal dune. जो वहाँ पे है उससे हम ज़्यादा लिख रहे हैं क्योंकि ये important है. These are the dunes. These are the dunes which are parallel to the wind direction. Keyword is parallel to the wind direction. These are the dunes which is parallel to the wind direction. Dunes which are parallel to the wind direction. Second, when the wind flows with great speeds, when the wind flows with great speeds, when the wind flows with great speeds, it picks up the sand particles and deposits on the sides. It picks up the sand particles and deposits on the sides. Deposits on the sides, forming longitudinal dunes, which are known as which are known as sword, in Arabia, and hence known as seif, SEIFS, seif. Known as seif. Next point, surrounding the seif or surrounding the sand dunes, is the sand free corridor. बराबर है, corridor will be sand free because wind will be going with great speed and putting it on the sides. Sand free corridor known as Gasi. So कहाँ पे है sand free corridor? This is sand dunes known as Gasi. Next, Barchans. You can draw the diagram for Barchans. You're having essay class now? कितने लोग हैं essay में? So you can take now. 5 मिनट चाहिए मुझे सर. Crescentic और moon shaped. क्यों moon shaped? ऊपर से दिखेगा moon shaped, 3 dimension में. Crescentic और moon shaped. Dunes which are formed transverse to the wind direction, transverse or perpendicular to the wind direction, are known as Barchans. This is how the wind direction is. Their windward side is क्या? Steep या convex and gentle. Getting it? While the leeward side is concave and steep. Leeward side is concave and steep. On the leeward side, the arms which extend, where are the arms? These are the arms. Arms which extend are known as horns. Sing. Barchans are formed due to any obstruction in the deserts, which causes winds to deposit, the sand particles deposit the sand particles. Now, next point. Barchans are an example of live dunes. Barchans are an example of live dunes. Live dunes I am showing you. कैसे वो progress करेगी आगे. Barchans are an example of live dunes. That is, they move forward. Speed अलग हो सकती है. 25 centimeters in a year to 35 meters in a year are an example of live dunes. That is, they move ahead, causing desertification. Next, in India, both longitudinal dunes and the barchans, both longitudinal dunes, live dunes, मतलब आगे बढ़ती जाएगी. Both longitudinal dunes and barchans are found in कौन सा? वेस्टर्न राजस्थान, ईस्टर्न राजस्थान. फिर से याद करो राजस्थान को. ईस्टर्न में क्या है? अरावलीज. So is ईस्टर्न राजस्थान डेजर्ट? नहीं. It is the sand dunes कहाँ पे है? वेस्टर्न राजस्थान. Found in कहाँ पे? अजमेर नहीं. अजमेर is same like दिल्ली. जैसलमेर, बीकानेर, बाड़मेर in the western part of Rajasthan. In the western part of Rajasthan. In the western part of Rajasthan. And lastly, when the winds blow from all the sides, when the winds blow from all the sides, when the winds blow from all the sides, star-shaped dunes are formed. Star-shaped dunes are formed. Fine? So you get an idea of, there are numerous types of dunes, but the most important is the barchans. There can be parabolic dunes also, there can be different kinds of dunes also. ये टाइम पास कर रहे हैं. So I'll show you on some other day, उस बैच के साथ ही. Fine? Just a minute. This is what is desertification. That is when the wind speed is very, very high. This is how the sand dunes are formed. स्केल उसने रखी है दिखाने के लिए. उसने भी कहीं से रिकॉर्डिंग किया होगा. So you can see deposition has occurred and the wind speed is decreasing, and this is how the dunes is now being formed. अब problem ये हो रहा है कि पंजाब में there is a rich fertile land and therefore वो सारा अब sand dunes बनते जा रहे हैं. So dune which was here earlier, अब it has moved here. Okay, so thank you very much. हाँ, वो तो उन्होंने लैब में एक्सपेरिमेंट करके दिखाया है. उसके सिवा स्केल कैसे आएगी? डिपोजिशन melted है.